Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel at VAG Technic. So the guys are working on a customer cars. I just finished a transporter where I replaced brakes, and I was working on a Golf R32. We did install stand suspension on it, but in this video we'll be working on an S3 what I bought on the auction from Copart. So I will try to fit as most of the parts what you've seen in the previous video. However, we will start with the Ep4 109 BG for the oil flush, so the engine is nice and warm. We will put it in the oil. I will not drain the oil yet. I want to keep the engine running because the first thing what I would like to do is the prop shaft bearing along with the Haldex. So that will be the crucial thing to actually sort out as a first thing, and then we're probably going to move on to the engine and just continue whatever we will do. So let's put the Ep4 into the engine oil and then we'll put it on the ramp.
Many minutes later.
Okay guys, so we're getting underneath of the car and it doesn't look that bad. However, we need to get somewhere over here. Where's the prop shaft bearing? That will be the main crucial critical job, because all this is not under sealant, that's oil or something from the prop shaft bearing, I believe. I'm really hoping it's not something more serious that we will have to buy a new prop shaft. And yeah, that used to be a nut. Actually 6 of them. I'm not sure if I will be able to release them without any cutting, but I have already new gaskets, so I'm ready for it. Ideally, I would like to drop the exhaust, part of the exhaust down, so we can just get to the prop shaft bearing and that's it. But that's my dreams, what might never come true. On the back will be Haldex, which is not working, right over here. So that will be the other thing what I need to sort out. Before we will do any kind of an engine work, we will try to sort out these things which are actually broken. Well, I'm not talking about the coolant leak from the front, because I know that's just a flange, which is, well, it's not leaking now. I have to be probably proper hot. But, you know, other than that, it's not that bad. The rusty spots here and there. I'm really loving this pipe. I think that was replaced or something, because it looks too good to be 24-year-old, which is a common fault. They're usually rotten in the front and then you have a problem. But this one looks fine. Yeah, I think we can start the work. So let's get to it. Okay. Okay guys, so I did hear the car. Unfortunately, on the first attempt, the exhaust was removed, so I couldn't hear anything. But soonest we actually put the exhaust back on, unleashed for a while, we did manage to hear the noise coming from the prop shaft bearing. So I'm actually quite glad it's not the joint on the prop shaft, because I just can't get it and you can't replace it, and you have to just get a second-hand one, which will be in nobody knows what condition. So basically, yeah, we're just gonna replace the prop shaft bearing, which I have here, and hopefully it will be all good. So I put the prop shaft with the new bearing in place. Well, obviously I did try to put it in place. However, if I'll put it back onto the diff, I won't be able to remove the pump for the Haldex, and I also probably have to do the Haldex control at the same time. So meanwhile we are back in there, we're gonna drain the Haldex, we will drain the diff oil. Where's the refill plug? There's a refill plug. We have new plugs, and we have new plugs with new washers. But yeah, I think I'm gonna drain it all up. We'll plug the Haldex, the one that I bought from eBay, onto this connector, and the fault code should be gone. Okay guys, so to the rear diff I put this oil, Fabi, according to the genuine part number, this is the correct oil for it, and we will continue with the Haldex now.
You cared about me, but when it all burned down and you lost my number, or you couldn't even call, didn't know if you recovered or not. Come on.
Okay guys, so I did remove everything of the differential and Haldex. So the oil filter housing with the filter was removed, the pump, we drained out all the oil. We still have to fill up a bit of a diff oil because it's not full, and this is how the old stuff looks like. So the control module, which is off the car, well, you can't see any damage, but obviously there was no communication. Filter is not the cleanest anymore, so I think it was time to change it. And the pump looks like this with the strain, so that gotta be cleaned up. We have a new O-rings, we also have a new gasket for the ECU on the Haldex controller, and we have a second-hand Haldex controller from eBay, so I'm really hoping it will be working. And I also ordered the inset for the Haldex, so it should be permanent 50-50, so we will see. So the Haldex filter is in place along with the Haldex pump. I still have to top up the Haldex afterwards, but the differential is fully topped up with oil, so that's fine. It was on level. I also put the prop shaft back on, and with the new bearing, of course, clean up everything as much as we can clean it up. Also, we still have to put the unit back in there with the new gasket. I'm waiting for the plug for the Haldex, but meanwhile I think we can put everything back together and get the exhaust ready to go back on.
Old school.
Okay guys, so the exhaust is ready to go back on with the cuts. We put all these heat shields back on from the top and underneath. I did repair what we can repair as a threads, and obviously new gasket, new clamp, ready to go back on the car. Okay, so we have a new clamp. We have all the heat shields back on there. Looks like everything is fitted. New nuts, and I think we will move on to the engine and gearbox. So that means we can drain the oil from the gearbox, we can drain the oil from the engine, take the oil filter out, which is leaking anyways. But if you have a closer look, somebody put a genuine filter on there. That's a good sign. And we have to remove the oil cooler as well and refit it with the housing what I bought for the extended oil cooler to the front. So let's get to it.
Many minutes later.
Oj, oj, oj. Okay guys, so the oil wasn't that bad. You can still see it's pretty much clear, so happy with it. Next up, oil filter with the heat exchanger, and we have to drop the oil sump off as well. We've got 4 bolts in there. There are 3 bolts for the gearbox and all the bolts around to clean up the pickup pipe for the oil pump, and then we can move on to the timing side and start stripping it from the top. So I did put the sump down, and probably you can tell straight away something very different from all the other engines. It's not dirty at all. Look at the state of the pickup pipe. That's all good. Look at inside of the engine. Look at that. The pistons, rods and everything, they're like brand new. I did put the EPR in for the oil flush, but I don't think that actually clean up the whole engine like that. So I've got a feeling option number 1, somebody was really taking care of the engine and there was a regular oil change. Option number 2, well, I did find some marks that there's an engine from 2007, which doesn't make any sense because they didn't make it that time, and like I said, it's too fresh. But you know, maybe it was just very well serviced. And yeah, I did find what I did want to find. Nothing, luckily. And we're just gonna clean up everything, put new silicone on there. The pickup pipe is actually clean, so we can continue on the timing belt. Okay guys, so the oil sump is back on, new gasket, everything is tight, cleaning up everything as much as we can. And we will move on to the oil filter with the housing for the cooler. And we have to change it for the one where I bought, do the pipings, take the bumper off and put the cooler in the front. Ha, 30 000 km, ten bol dobrý. I figure out probably best way will be put it this way. So the oil pressure is on the right side, temperature is on the left because it's smaller. There's not much space. So the hoses will go on an elbow bend straight away, somewhere down here to the front bumper. So this will be definitely sitting onto the housing like this. And we just have to figure out how to put the cooler in there. We did find out that basically the upgraded oil cooler, it's mounted onto the original oil cooler. So there's an extension to it, and on that the oil filter will just screw on and that's it. It is very tight setup, so it's really close to everything. The plan is these hoses needs to go around the coolant from the plastic out there to the front panel, up there, over there. And the plan is that the oil cooler will sit underneath the crash bar like that. So that's the plan. We will see what's the reality and we will continue. Okay, so we did put the oil filter on there. It's quite tight, but it's there without any modification, so that's fine. We still have to do the wiring afterwards for the sensors. There's one, there's the second one. And the next step is we have to somehow take these hoses around the panel and to the front. Oil cooler, that will be ideal place. Sitting on the slam panel, we will do some small L-shaped hooks or something on there. The oil hoses will be clamped together somewhere here, so it's not touching anything. The bottom seems to be quite tight. That will not vibrate or anything, shouldn't move too much. The only problem what I've got, I didn't tie the insets onto the housing, and I just can't get any sockets on there now, so you gotta take it off one more time and tie it up properly. Dobre? Okay. Okay guys, so we have a day after. We finished quite late yesterday, probably about midnight, 1 in the morning, but that's the best time to work on your own car. Nobody's bothering you. And I must say, I do like how the setup actually ended up. We didn't have to adjust any of the hoses or anything, so I did put these hangers onto the slam panel. We still have to screw the oil cooler to it, so it's not moving. We did secure the hoses on several spots. I don't think there will be an issue from the slam panel. That seems to be fine. From the top, it is tight setup, but it's not touching any of the coolant fans and it's not leaking mainly. So we have the car running yesterday for a couple of minutes and there's no oil leaks, so I'm happy with that. So I think we can continue from the top of the engine. We will do the timing and we also have to sort out the coolant leak from the cylinder head. So let's get to it. No spools. Okay. 13. Okay. 13. Okay. 13. Okay. 13. So I get to the point where I can't remove this holder for the engine. The timing belt looks that it's done almost like nothing, so that looks really fresh. Also, somebody did use genuine parts. As you can see, there's an Audi logo there, and the only problem is to remove that bracket. We have to drop off the tensioner first with the hydraulic tensioner, and then we'll be able to actually remove it. But yeah, it is a bit of a pain, but yeah, let's continue. Okay guys, so the engine holder come out as the last thing, unfortunately. So next step is clean up the whole thing. We will insert all the new stuff what we bought from SKF. That's the brand of the timing belt kit. The belt and the whole kit was actually replaced probably about 2021, 2022. That's what the marking says on the old parts. They were all genuine, so shout out to the previous owner. And yeah, we're just gonna clean it up and put all the new things back on. I'm just thinking now that we have a bit of oil leak from the rocker cover gasket from that corner over there. So I have a new gasket anyways, new plugs anyways. So I'm thinking we will strip down the rocker cover and clean it up, put a new gasket, also replace the housing or flange on this side, and basically do it all up. And the last thing will be just put the timing belt back on with all clean new components. So let's continue. So again, look at the condition of the engine. I think it's absolutely mental that the engine is in this condition. I've never seen such an old car with the engine and everything is nice and shiny. So probably what we will do is just clean up the edges so they're nice and clean. New gasket from TPS, put the cover back on and we can continue. Okay guys, so this is the old housing for the coolant from the cylinder head, and you probably see the damage now why it was leaking. So the plastic is broken, the o-ring is coming out. Luckily we have a new one for £9. We're also gonna have a new gasket for the coolant sensor, that's for the temperature, and the plastic clip. So we're just gonna clean up the cylinder head, it can go back on. I did forget to mention, we have a short shifter here, so basically we can change the distance to the center, which means that the gear lever should basically do shorter distance, which means it will feel shorter. That's why it's short shifter. And it's just a 13mm nut what needs to come off, and this should be a direct fit, so let's get to it. The gear lever, we will not change distance left to right because that can't be changed. We will change the distance forward and backwards. It should be changed up to 40%, which means right now it's going third gear like so. So we should probably get somewhere here and it should be engaged. So let's change it and let's see the difference. So I still have to remove the other side as well because this will not let me go. We put the new timing belt in there, also with the dodgy bracket and also with the tensioner over there. So right now we have to move that bracket to its position where it belongs. We have to put the water pump next, and then we're gonna put the timing on. You have marking on the camshaft, sprocket wheel, and also on the cylinder head, same on the crank. So pretty much easy setup. I think we are in the position, and also from the top I think we look good, so that should be fine. And it was pain because that holder or the bracket for the engine is just in the way all the time, so we have to take the grenade out now so it will tension the belt, and we just have to put it all back together with all the covers and stuff. Okay guys, so all the covers are back on there, so we can continue with the engine mount and all the evap system and the coolant tank. Okay guys, so we are finishing, so everything from the top was put back on. This pipe was a bit of a fun to put it on, and I forgot to put the bracket on there. That was a bit of a waste of time. New coolant tank, and I think we can try to start it up. The car's in the temperature, it says 90 degrees. I have a laser thermometer here. If you're gonna check, it's only 17 degrees. That's strange. Well, let's have a look at the engine. What's the temperatures on there? So if we will measure the oil cooler, this is oil coming in, got 83 degrees Celsius, and on the way out it's like 40. So it is definitely better. It will be even better when the car will go, it will move. This is a bit of a problem. So 60 degrees on the intake pipe. Further down it's only 40. Intake here got like 36. But this is a bit of a problem. So I'll definitely, probably, hopefully wrap it with something what will bring the temperature down a bit, because this is too much. It is better, but we'll see. The only way how we're gonna find out is to take it on the road. So next step will be, we have to connect the oil temperature, oil pressure and a boost to the cabin, so we have to move inside the car. Okay guys, so this is my plan. That's a vent and I want to put that in there. Quite interesting, quite funny, and well, I will try to remove it without damaging it because it looks too good. We have to connect all this somehow. We have a direct boost pipe hose coming to it, so that have to be taken from the intake, and then the rest of it is just wires basically. So yeah, we have to figure out how we're gonna connect it onto the rest of the electrics, and also they should be having lights, so when I'm gonna switch on the lights and the cluster will go on, they should go on as well. So let's get to it. So the vents are just basically pushed in, but there's a cable coming to them. So unfortunately, to get to that, I have to remove the cluster. I did plug on the boost guide control hose, put it in the interior. We have to take the wiper blades off. I did manage to connect it. I'm not sure where it is. Oh, there it is. So there are 2 wires what we need for the guides, and we have 2 grounds, so they were joined together. We're just gonna ground it somewhere, and the wiring will go around here with this hose pipe inside over there, and we will have to connect it in the middle. Okay guys, so this is the entrance to the interior. To make it work, we will have to strip down this part of the interior so we can get from underneath. All the cables and wiring will go in somewhere here. We want to put it around the cluster and into the central console. We are in the car, so we have the boost pressure and the wiring. There's a lovely hole already from the factory, so that will be enough. I think the ground will be okay to put from there. The Permanent Plus for the guys, I'm not sure what we're gonna do with them, because the lights will be connected here, so we already have that, but we still need to have a Permanent Plus. So made in Taiwan, the best quality. We have them installed and everything is working. So we have a temperature, we have a bar boost, everything is fine. I did have a problem with the oil temperature because the connector what I use is not meant for that, but I want to have it like plug and play, so in case I need to remove it. But yeah, I didn't have a signal coming from the sensor to the guy, and it's all fixed now, so everything is working. I can sleep well, I can put it back together as it was, but I still leave the bottom open because I have a immobilizer for this car, so I have to install it. So we have a day number 50 million, nobody knows. Mr. Patrick is cleaning the wheels before he will put some ceramic coating on them. It's brilliant, so there will be no brake dust. Meanwhile, DPD was here. I'll show you what they bring us. And meanwhile, I did put the hose with the wiring into the interior, so that's already closed. Still have to put the wiper blades in place, clean up as much as we can. Well, it's still old, but you know, we've done our best. But this is the main thing what I was waiting for. So we have these plugs for the Haldex. Unfortunately, I did mess up because Miroslav came into the office and I showed him what I ordered, and he was like, yo, you sure that's the right one? He was like, there's 2 of them, 2 types. And I did order the wrong one at first attempt. Now we have from dark side development the second one over here. So what we have to do is take the original out, which is just holding in there, and it should be somehow regulating the oil pressure in the Haldex. So let's swap it around. Okay guys, so I did remove the old one. It looks like this, looks like it's there from since. And this is the upgraded one. You can see how much longer it is. So that should come inside over there, like so. And it should be making pressure onto this release valve or whatever is it. So, like I said, I don't know what exactly it's doing, but it should do something with the Haldex. I'm not sure if the Haldex will be more responsive with Penament 50/50, but it's definitely doing something with the pressure, because you can see a spring inside there, so that will be some kind of a release valve for the pressure. So the only way how to find out is fit it, and I'll let you know. We did put the inset from the top. I did grease up the rubber O-ring. It went in nicely, happy with it. We have a new gasket, new drain plug with the washer, and we can put it in, fill it up with oil and test it. Okay guys, so the Haldex control is in place with the new gasket. I did manage to put the cable where it belongs, plug it back into the connector. Also for the motor, right on the top. Next up, we have these plugs with washers, and we will have to fill up the Haldex from here. So we have the Haldex oil here, manual. This is what it says according to the part number is the correct oil. I'm really hoping so. So the manual said 250 ml is a full refill, but we did change the filter. We also have the pump out, so I think we'll try to put like 300 ml. Hopefully it will be enough. So let's get to it. I refilled the Haldex as much as I can. It was 180 millimeters what got in until it started coming out. So I think we have to start it up, make the system run. Obviously the pump gotta start doing some pressure, so it will circulate a bit of oil, clean it up a bit. So let's get to the car and try it out. So you've seen the rear is spinning, so it's official four-wheel drive car again. The front was spinning as well. I left it running in the first gear a bit, so it circulated the oil or whatever. We still have to check the level of the gearbox because it's not really coming in, and I think there's not enough oil. And we also have to recheck the Haldex now if it still needs oil or what's happening with it. Next up, we will have to replace the hydraulic fluid in the brakes, so we will put dot 5.1. So all the old hydraulic gotta come out and we have to put new one in. So yeah, we'll check the levels and then we will continue with the brakes.
No, akože hýbe sa to. Hýbe sa to. Ale tak pomaličky.
Okay guys, so the car is still on the run, but we are finishing. So the bumper is on, we did sort out the brake fluid, we did sort out the Haldex, we did sort out the whole list, well, most of it. And I think the car's basically ready for MOT, I would say. Meanwhile, we were quite busy on the next ramps over there, doing customer cars. I wasn't filming too much, but I did have 1 or 2 productive evenings. So I've done a small tune, it's like a homemade tune. I'm not sure if it's gonna help too much, it's just basically for a good feeling that we've done maximum for it in the lowest possible budget, and this is what I've done. Okay, so don't laugh. If you're looking from the front of the car, you can't actually see it. It's sort of hidden. But soon as you will come closer and closer and closer and closer, you will find out I did make a homemade cover, one side and another side. And I also have done like an air duct coming to it, and the air duct is coming out from this side here. I did try to make somehow the air to come in. I'm really hoping it will do something actually. And I also used the air ducts what I bought, the 3D printed ones for the brakes, and I actually did attach it directly onto the hub. So I made an attachment point directly onto the hub, and it's just on the 18mm bolt for the caliper, so it's holding pretty all right. And the whole point is to try to get as much as air onto the brakes, because obviously if I'm gonna go for a racetrack, I don't want to cook them. I know I shouldn't go for big ones and this and that, but like I said, I want to do it as cheap as possible for now. And to be completely honest, I was looking at the brakes and pads, and they are genuine and they have no lip. It's just brand new, this and pads. So I don't want to replace something what's actually is functional. So if they will die, they will do whatever, overheat, I'm gonna go for a bigger brake setup, but for now these have to do. And obviously same on the other side, so it is attached directly onto the hub. We have a entrance duct right over there. And yeah, pretty much all good. So like I said, it's just a small upgrade, homemade really, from old underneath covers what I found. So it was all plastic welded and it was sort of fitted. I'm really hoping it will be holding there. It will not fly off somewhere. And yeah, we can take the car off the ramp now. We can go to the front of the unit where the car actually started the journey. And I'll try to calculate and find out how much it actually cost me everything. Well, obviously, £1,000,000 later, and it's still all S3, so we didn't done some major work on it. It's still pretty much stock, but I'm quite happy with the output. I'm very happy how it came out. Like I said, I have to find all the prices because I don't remember. So let's get the car to the front of the unit, and I'll find out whatever we spend on it. Okay guys, so here we are where we actually started. I must say the car looks much better than it was actually from the auction. So it looks clean. I'm really hoping it will drive fine as well. So I did find all the invoices and everything what I actually purchased for this beautiful S3 1.8 turbo. And I was a bit of it shocked because the prices what I'm gonna tell you are not high. It's like 50, 30, 70, 50, 16, 48, £8, but there's quite loads of them. And the total bill is a bit shocking, and that's without labor. I must say, thank you very much, Mr. Patrick, for helping me out with the cleaning, detailing, polishing, and getting the car in the condition as you see it now. It was very helpful. And of course, Patrick didn't charge me his normal price because he will need to do something on his Subaru and Passat. So we will help him with that, of course. But in case you have something similar and you want to do a cleaning, detailing, polishing, whatever, I'll leave a contact on Patrick. You can get in touch with him and he'll give you a price. I did pay to Patrick for everything what you've seen, including all the chemicals, £240, which is really cheap. Thank you very much. Then the PPF what you've seen was actually for free. I still have a leftover from my Audi over what I've done, so I wouldn't count anything on that really. Then the removal, the guys asked £300, which I'm really happy because they've done quite a good job. Took him only maybe not even 2 hours. I'll leave a contact in the description. If you local West Midlands, you want to do some kind of a dents, definitely get in touch with them. The mobile, they can sort it out. It looks absolutely amazing. I am very happy with it. Then something simple like paint, lacquer to repair the bonnet actually. Let's call it £100. That wasn't much actually, it was just a bit of a filler and a bit of a paint and a bit of a lacquer. Wheels were £120, very cheap for all 4 of them to get them refurb. Tires £265. I also put 15mm spacers where you've seen that was another £30. The oil pressure, oil temperature, and boost guide with the holder was another 110. The brake dot, the funny 3D printed thing, was actually 50 quid. I thought it was cheaper, but it was £50. That's quite a lot. Short shifter was 50. Side cover, the plastic which is covering the timing belt, was £30. Mirrors, which are still not on the car, is £180. Timing belt kit was £170. It wasn't necessary to replace it, but obviously there's no proof when it was done and so on and so on, so I just want to be sure, so I put a new timing belt kit on it. That was £170. The cooler was actually quite cheap with the hoses and the bracket and everything was just £73. The prop shaft bearing was 50, diff oil 16, Haldex service, basically the whole kit what you've seen was 48. N70 valve, N75 valve, what I didn't replace, it was only £8. I'll keep it just in case I need to replace it, so I have it. The flange for the coolant from the cylinder head was 17, coolant reservoir was 12, bolts for the cover, the plastic bolts from China what I bought to hold the 5-valve Audi cover on the engine were £3. Then Haldex controller from eBay was 110, used of course. Exhaust gaskets were 18, oil for the engine was 50, still not enough, have to order some because it's low. Immobilizer, what you've seen, is £16. It's quite primitive immobilizer, so basically if you don't have the thingy what you should have. The engine will not start and it's just wired in somehow. So good luck finding it, because I did hit it quite good. So I'm happy. Obviously, probably who really wants to take the car away will take it, but it's just sort of like a prevention for a few quid. So I really hope it will do the job. Haldex housing insert to make it permanent 50/50 was 80 quid. CV boot was 18 pounds, so we can actually pass the MOT. That's page number 1. Page number 2, sleeve for the exhaust, 16 pounds, gearbox oil, 60 quid, brake fluid was 35 pounds. Then we have the bonnet strut, because obviously it was falling down. That was another 28 pounds. The under tray cover was 57 from TPS Genuine, couldn't get anywhere else. Spark plugs were 48, PCV was 37, gaskets from TPS 16. Oil filter was another 16, and some sump plug washers and gaskets from TPS 40 pounds. So total, everything what you've seen on the video cost me, without labor, £2,500. And on the end of the day, it's still all Audi S3. So it's quite loads of money. It's quite loads of money for an old car, but this is, I would say, like a service, most likely than a repair. So it is 24-year-old, so basically whatever needed doing, I try to sort it out as best as possible in some kind of a budget. But still, when I was ordering the stuff, I really closed my eyes, because I did want to sort it out ASAP and just get the car off the ramp, because we need the ramps, so to work on the customer cars. So it took me probably from Monday to Friday, everything what you've seen was sorted. That's like 5 hours of labor, which in my eyes is probably additional, probably £2,500. So if you have an old car like this and you still buy it for sort of a good price, it's absolutely mental to put it in the condition so it's sort of road worth it, and everything is done from service point of view and it sort of looks clean. Yeah, so we didn't done any major repairs, I would say, which were costly, and yeah, it's quite loads of money for a S3. So I paid £3,950 to Copart to actually buy the car with all the fees, and I spent another £2,500 minus the labor, so that will give us £6,500 figure, which is quite a lot still. So yeah, was it worth it? Well, long term, maybe. Short term, absolutely not. But I did want to have an S3 on the end of the day. I do like it because it's wide body. There's not loads of them left, so maybe it was worth it. I don't know, but yeah, it is done, and the car will be used for track days, like I mentioned. It won't be anything crazy. We just want to go there, have a bit of a fun. I don't want to kill it and just destroy it completely. So, of course, if you're going to drive it like stolen, completely to the limit, you can basically write off the car in 3 or 4 laps. You can cook the brakes, you can damage the clutch, you can blow up the engine. So anything can happen. On the end of the day, that's motorsport, and it is expensive hobby, but yeah, I definitely want to try it out on tracks on some weekends. And from one point of view, I'm very happy. That's the engine, what you've seen. The internals are super clean, so that giving us a bit of a idea, like, well, option number 1, there's a full rebuild engine. Option number 2, somebody was really taking care of the engine. So at least something positive. But yeah, I can't wait to actually finally drive it. I don't have the V5 yet because it wasn't part of the vehicle. I didn't receive it from Copart, so I did apply for a new V5. I still have to go for MOT. I still have to tax it afterwards. And I'm really hoping when we will sort out the formalities, then we will sort out all the paperwork and what necessary to have to go on the road, I'll definitely probably go somewhere local at least to try it out first, and we'll see what will be the outcome. So that is all from the video so far, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any experience from track days or whatever we can do better, leave us a comment, and we will see you in the next video. We'll be repairing some cars probably, I don't know. And yeah, take care for now. See ya.